Have you ever felt totally, completely overwhelmed by all the financial advice online? Because if you have, you were definitely not alone. It is a jungle out there. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and look at one of the simplest and honestly most powerful strategies for building wealth.
You know, the comedian Hassan Minhaj just nailed it. Your feed, my feed, it's just screaming at us with all these get-rich-quick schemes, right? It makes it almost impossible to know who to trust. It really feels like every flavor of overconfident idiot is on your timeline, and it's all designed to suck you in the second you have a little bit of extra cash.
And that's where this guy, author J.L. Collins, comes in. He offers this powerful antidote to all that chaos. Now, his philosophy? It's not flashy, it's not going to make you a millionaire overnight, and he's definitely not trying to sell you a course. But here's the thing. For a huge number of people, it just works.
So what is this life-changing, super boring advice? Well, Collins' entire book, The Simple Path to Wealth, can pretty much be boiled down to just 3 fundamental rules. Let's get into them.
That's it. Seriously, spend less than you make, invest what's left over, and do your best to stay out of debt. I know it sounds almost ridiculously simple, right? But the real power is in how you actually apply these principles. And it all starts with that very first one.
This right here, this is such a powerful way to reframe the whole idea of saving. Collins argues that spending less than you earn isn't about depriving yourself. You're not just being cheap. You are actively spending that surplus cash on the single most valuable thing you could ever possibly buy, your own freedom.
And he's got this great name for it, FU money. Now, this isn't the final destination, right? It's not full financial independence. But it is that powerful cushion you build along the way. It's the money that lets you walk away from a toxic job you hate, or take a few months off to travel, or just make bolder choices without being trapped by your next paycheck.
Okay, so you're spending less than you earn, you're starting to build up that surplus. Now we get to step 2, investing it. And this is where most of us get totally paralyzed by all the choices out there. But again, Collins keeps it unbelievably simple.
For him, the answer is just one thing: VTSAX. That is it. No complicated portfolio, no chasing the hot new trend, just this one single investment. So what the heck is VTSAX? Well, it stands for Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund. Think of it this way. Instead of trying to bet on a single company like Apple or Tesla, you're buying a tiny little slice of the entire U.S. stock market. And because it's a low-cost fund, you get to keep more of your money working for you instead of paying it out in high fees. You're basically just hitching your wagon to the long-term growth of the whole American economy.
And this just shows you how diversified it is. You're not betting on one company, or even one industry. When you invest in this one fund, you instantly own a tiny piece of about 3,600 different companies. You've basically just bet on Team USA Inc. as a whole.
And historically, that has been a fantastic bet. I mean, look at this. Over the last 50 years, and think about what that includes: stagflation, Black Monday, the dot-com bubble bursting, the 2008 financial crisis, a global pandemic. Through all of that, the average annual return has been over 12%.
Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're like most people, your brain is already firing off 100 objections. It just sounds too simple, maybe too good to be true. So let's just tackle the most common what-ifs head-on. This is the big one, right? Your buddy who went all in on some tech stock a few years ago is just crushing it. You see these massive gains and you think, man, why would I ever settle for 12% a year?
And let's be real, you're not wrong to be tempted. Just look at these numbers. While the index fund was plugging along, delivering a solid average, individual stocks like Apple or Nvidia just posted these astronomical gains. A return of over 26,000% on Nvidia. I mean, the pull of that is almost irresistible.
But here's Collins' beautifully simple comeback. Hindsight is always 20/20. The problem is you don't have a crystal ball. For every one Nvidia, there are literally countless other companies that looked just as promising 10 years ago and have since completely flamed out. Trying to pick the winners is a game that is nearly impossible to win consistently over the long haul.
And this is the absolute magic of the index fund. You don't need that crystal ball. As companies like Sears, which by the way was once the Amazon of its day, as they fade away, they automatically fall out of the index. And the rising stars like an Amazon or an Nvidia, they automatically become a larger and larger piece of it. You always own the winners without ever having to guess who they're going to be.
Okay, next big fear, the crash. Every single day, the news gives us a new reason to panic, a new reason to believe that this time is different, that the world is about to fall apart, and that investing is just way too risky right now.
But let's just look at the data for a second. Massive, terrifying market crashes are not some weird anomaly. They are a normal, expected part of the whole process. I mean, in the last 50 years, the market has dropped by over 50% multiple times. And every single time, it has recovered and gone on to set new record highs. The reason for the crash is always different, but the pattern is always the same.
So what about something like Bitcoin? Well, Collins makes a really crucial distinction here between investing and speculating. Investing, like with VTSAX, is buying a share of actual businesses that are out there creating products, providing services, and generating real value. Speculating is buying something simply because you hope someone else will pay you more for it later. Now, it can work out spectacularly, for sure, but it's a completely different game with different rules and a whole lot more risk.
So we've covered the how, and we've talked about the fears. But to really get the why behind this whole mindset, Collins uses this simple little parable that just frames the entire philosophy perfectly. It's a story of two old friends who chose very, very different paths.
So, one friend becomes this rich and powerful minister to the king. And one day, seeing his old friend living a super simple life as a monk, he feels kind of sorry for him and offers some advice. He basically sees the monk's life as one of deprivation, of missing out.
And the monk's reply just completely flips the entire perspective on its head. See, he doesn't see his life as a sacrifice at all. He sees it as the ultimate source of freedom and power. He is independent on anyone for anything.
And that really brings us to the crucial point of all this. This whole simple path thing was never just about piling up money. It forces all of us to ask a much deeper question. When you spend your money, are you just buying more stuff, or are you buying your freedom?